Rabbit dashing through the snow, with a horsey on our sleigh. Slowpoke and slow bro, laughing all the way. Bellsprout starts to sing, so does Magnemite. Then Seed King will start to ring the jingle bells tonight. Oh, Pokeballs, Pokeballs, throw them all the way. You may catch the Pokemon you want on Christmas Day. Hey, Pokeballs, Pokeballs, throw them all the way. You may catch the Pokemon you want on Christmas.
Happy holidays, Poke Center. This is a Christmas podcast for you guys. With me, we've got Ultimario.
Woo!
We got Wave.
Hey, everyone.
And last but not least, we've got Crashik.
Howdy doody.
So, in this podcast, this Christmas cast, we will be discussing a lot about Generation 5 and just basically covering kind of the new metagame, the stats that have been released out there.
I don't think the name ChristmasCast has actually been officialized yet.
Oh, it totally has now.
Well played, Terry.
They can deal with it. I'm pretty sure they don't mind.
Do not be mean at the holidays, Wave. How could you?
It's just who I am.
No, it's just who I am.
No, Wave is annoying. 1359.
Can we stop being terrible now?
I don't know about you, but I've never been terrible.
Never been terrible? Jeez, Crash.
Who wants to make a bet?
Oh, what kind of bet?
I'm trying to get banned from Shuriken.com. Let's make a bet on how long it takes me. I've already derailed tier list threads into discussion about homophobia and transsexuals, so how long do you think it will take me?
3 months.
Wait, are you going to try to get banned, or are you just going to post the way you already are?
I'm altering the way I post in a manner that I think will get me banned, but I haven't even gotten fracked it yet, so...
And that's
well,
what it's all
really
about.
Frequented Shuriken, so I wouldn't really know. But I would guess a month, if the mods are, vigilant.
I'm not even sure if I will. I mean, right now they're really angsty. They're like a bunch of 6th graders that just walked into a college feminism class. They're just full of angst, and they have no idea what's going on because there's just so many changes and so much news going on. And I'm sort of just poking sticks at everyone, calling them homophobes and insulting them and just completely derailing threads altogether.
I'm
That sounds
surprised.
like a fun
And I
time.
take everyone's sarcastic remarks serious, and for some reason that works wonders on their site because they get mad as hell when you don't get their joke.
Definitely sounds like fun.
I like how you can even successfully derail all these threads so easily from the sounds of it.
Crashik is experienced at derailing threads.
Maybe, but It's I'm just going to go into a serious tier list debate and just turn it into gay discussion. Let's go. That is a talent.
Wait, maybe our ramble should be Christmas-like?
Christmas-like?
This
It's a week from Christmas, and it hasn't snowed here
But no,
yet.
it comes out on Christmas.
Yep.
Why celebrate
Alright.
the point of getting all these presents sometime in the foreseen future, or all this money, or whatever the heck you get for Christmas, when you could be talking about getting banned from SRK?
My parents haven't been
actually-
here for 2 days, so I'm getting kind of worried.
I don't actually have anything I need for Christmas. I would like a college acceptance letter. I will be completely okay with that.
Terry has
Yeah.
such low standards.
Yeah, I'm
Clothes.
no standard.
Did you guys see the Ed and Eddie Christmas special?
Yes.
Nope.
I don't really
I watched it
watch
today.
TV.
Yeah, I don't really watch TV either.
There is no reason not
I
to
don't-
watch Ed, Ed, and Eddie, ever. It is the most amazing
Well,
thing.
I
only
don't
watch
have a
Cartoon
TV,
Network
so
anymore.
I can't watch it. So, how about that for a reason?
No, absolutely
Your-
not.
Your college doesn't have a TV, like a social room?
Actually, I don't think my house social room does, but I think there's one somewhere else in my dorm complex.
Living the college life.
You know what? No, I will drag you over to my house by force so you can watch Ed, Ed, and Eddie. That is
All the
that
way
is
You have
from-
to go to Minnesota.
that is how important it is.
You would have to go all the way to Minnesota just to bring him.
I was having such an awful day. I mean, then I turned on the TV. There's Ed and Eddie Cartoon Network Christmas special, and bam,
Your
I
day
feel
got 10 times better.
magically better.
10 times better.
Yes.
Yep.
Only 10? Wow, that's disappointing.
It should have been more like 87 times better. Well, actually, mathematically speaking, that doesn't work. If you have a negative day and you multiply by that 10, it's still a negative, and it's got even worse.
Well, that means you would multiply by negative 87, which would mean that it's really bad.
Oh, we're breaking the universe. So how about we turn this Ed, Edd n Eddy into Pokemon now?
I'm okay with that.
Then let's go! And now we'll be dragging into the OU segment of the Christmas cast, starting with our nuts that we're trying to roast over an open fire, but have failed once already. We'll begin with the #1 most used Pokemon in Wi-Fi, Notori, and its big friendly partner, Burunguru, that walls nearly every type used out there.
It's a very popular combination, as I've seen, because it's just a fantastic defensive core. You have someone to set up spikes, someone to block them, someone to take pretty much any kind of special attack, Notori, and then you have the Burunguru tanking the 2 weaknesses, fire and fighting. So it's pretty much like your ideal defensive core right there.
I actually run more of mixed defensive Notori and Burunguru. I don't want one that's like completely going to be killed by one type of attack and one that's going to be completely killed by another. I want one to be able to tank the other's hits if I don't want to switch in. So I actually run Notori with more special defense than defense, namely to take HP fires and stuff. And I don't run much defense on my Burunguru, but I do run a fair bit. I actually do not like Burunguru that much, even if it's a partner for Notori. I'm not a big fan of Burunguru, namely because I don't have enough room on my teams for him.
But he's got the stash.
I don't care if he's Pringles.
That's true. Another thing that's pretty nice about both of these guys is that they both have solid recovery. Burunguru just straight up gets recover, and then Natare has Leech Seed, and especially
I don't know
when
if I call that solid recovery,
well,
though.
I know, but it's still better than absolutely nothing. Especially
when you're as bulky as Notori, Leech Seed is solid recovery. It really is.
Yeah, you have Leech Seed and Lefters.
Especially when it's against stuff like Blissey. You recover like a quarter of your health every turn that way.
I will say, however, that the combo, at least on paper, seems really weak to bulk up Repulsion, because you can't send the Ghost in, because if he burns him, they're both dead. If he gets that Guts off, and they all run Guts, all Repulsions currently, just about.
Yeah.
So, and after a few bulk ups, he's gonna be hitting pretty hard. And Drain Punch kind of eliminates Leech Seed's effect too.
Surprisingly, bulk up Repulsion is hurting a lot of things, a lot more than I expected. That's pretty much the lack of Draco Meteor on teams now, surprisingly enough. There isn't enough Draco Meteor running around to keep bulk up Repulsion in check, which is a big problem considering it could break a lot of defensive cores like that and can rip through teams if you don't have a strong move to take it down in a single hit.
Speaking of Repulsion, how does he stack up against Machamp?
Repulsion has a completely different role as Machamp. They're almost incomparable. Machamp is annoy your opponent with hacks as much as you can, and Repulsion is bulk up, Drain Punch, and hope you don't die from a Draco Meteor. That's essentially what it is.
You said that you don't really run bulk up
I don't.
that much.
Bulk up Repulsion doesn't work on my teams. If you could center your team more around it, it works really well, but I don't use it on my teams. I don't like it preferably, but I tend to build teams that are weak to bulk up Repushin, which hurts. Repushin can go and take physical hits a lot better than Machamp can, which can, help out with it countering the likes of T-Tar. Machamp might not like coming in and taking 2 Stone Edges or a Stone Edge and an Earthquake or something from T-Tar. Could leave a pretty nasty dent in it, but Repushin can completely shrug that off because of stuff like Drain Punch.
Speaking of Tyranitar, Tyranitar is actually next guy on our list. Tyranitar is second in usage from our Pokemon Online statistics. It was used on about 14.5% of all teams. The main thing, again, as Tyranitar always has been, is that Tyranitar brings that immediate Sandstorm, and when you have stuff like Garchomp and Doryuzu everywhere, it's just really good at basically just getting in and supporting those hard-hitting Pokemon.
Tyranitar's a really funny thing this gen. It really is, because last gen it's, big physical attacker with the gimmicky mixed set. Now it's big special attacker with the gimmicky all physical sets, or the gimmicky specially defensive sets.
I think the specially attacking Tyranitar is more of a fad for myself, because stuff like Notori is eventually going to catch on that Tyranitars run Flamethrower a lot, and then they're not going to switch in, and then Tyranitar's not going to run Flamethrower anymore.
The issue with that is...
I feel like it's more like people are taking advantage of what's popular right now.
The issue with that is, if that happens, then you're running out of things that are just going to take hits from Tyranitar, Realistically speaking, if the Tyranitar runs Flamethrower, Notori doesn't fear it. If it has more than 70% health, it could take the Flamethrower unless the Tyranitar invests heavily in special attack. At the point, the Tyranitar have to run Fire Blast, which is accuracy, which could spoil the thing. And, well, if Tyranitars run all physical, they're walled by Notori. If they run mixed, other things take them down, and if you're not switching in your Notori into it or something like that, then you're going to have something that can take those hits, and other than fighting types, something that can wall Tyranitar is hard to come by. If you want something that could take 20% damage and shrug it off, it's all physical, but if it's, not, that could be an issue.
Wait, I actually had something to bring up. It was something very ironic that happened in Smash Past. Chill, we were going to read through the Poke Center Pokédex, and Chill brought up how certain Pokemon, and he said, quote, like Tyranitar, will always have certain sets that will always be their standard. Now here we are, and Flamethrower is standard on Tyranitar.
Yeah. I normally run a set like Stone Edge, Earthquake, Pursuit, Flamethrower, or you could use Fire Blast in that spot if case may be. Works wonders.
Why not Fire Punch?
Because Notori is more physically bulky than specially bulky, and thus Flamethrower. Even with your higher attack, Flamethrower and Fire Blast are going to do more damage, and pretty much you're not going to take any Iron Thorns damage either.
Probably isn't. Does Flamethrower 1-hit KO?
No, only Fire Blast can 1-hit KO.
Fire Mist.
So if you're running Flamethrower, then you might as well run Fire Punch of it, also 2-hit KOs.
Well, that's 2-hit KOing and also taking Iron Thorns damage when you're being blasted by Gyro Balls. So...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Gyro Ball, if you're running if you're running with a Tyranitar with more speed than bulk, Gyro Ball is gonna pretty much kill you.
Hey, Ulti. On these sets, Flamethrower doesn't pop up until the 12th most used and is only 1.24% used.
Because those are PO
on Tyranitar.
Those are PO stats. When you go on Smogon, you don't find any straight physical Tyranitars anymore. They're all mixed. There's not a single straight physical Tyranitar on Smogon. They're all mixed. All of them.
Is that from your ladder experiences?
Yes, that is from my ladder experiences. I've never found a fully physical Tyranitar. Every single one of them has known Ice Beam or Flamethrower or Fire Blast. Every single one.
It's amazing how much one Pokemon can affect such another Pokemon's common move pool. or movesets.
Yep. And why this didn't happen because of Fortress, I can't tell you.
Well, the thing is, Nadirate actually has like a special defensive stat. Like Fortress, like it was there, but I think like yeah, Fortress didn't lack the special bulk that Nadirate actually has.
That doesn't make any
And it
sense.
didn't really have any good recovery either.
Still had ways to kill a Tyranitar with Gyro Ball pretty easily. 2-hit KO, I'd guess. But with your mixed Tyranitar will come your powerful Doriyuzu, won't it, Wave?
Doriyuzu is one of the generation's most threatening sweepers. With Sand Throw and Sword Stance, it can get +2 in both attack and speed and hit with Earthquake, one of the best attacking moves in the entire game. And going with the Tyranitar and even Hippowdon, it's pretty easy to set up that Sandstorm. And then just completely sweep teams either as a mid-game or late-game sweeper.
My issue with Doriyuzu is that he's heavily overrated. He is really overrated. Tremendously. People are shouting Uber at this guy all over the place. And he's just not.
Well, is he actually good or not?
Yeah,
I mean, overrated doesn't really say
he's
anything.
good, but he's tremendously overrated. People are like, this is the most powerful Pokemon in the entire metagame. Bam, bam, bam. It's absolutely not. It is completely reliant on a single weather to sweep. If it can't keep that weather up, it can't do anything. Dory is completely walled by any ground flying types, namely Gliscor. It's really surprising what a adamant +2 attack Earthquake actually can't kill for some dang reason or another. It's really, really good. Really, really, really good, but it's also really, really, really heavily overrated. It has good hard counters and it's strong, but it can be stopped better than other people think it can.
Well, maybe if they all stopped running X-Scissor, they wouldn't have such a problem.
Jeez. X-Scissor is so bad.
But it needs X-Scissor, though, doesn't it?
No, you could run Shadow Claw
Or does it
instead.
not?
You could run Shadow Claw instead, it'll be better.
Doriyuzu doesn't really have that many options, I don't think. It has the Stab Earthquake, which is already scary enough. It has
Rock Slide.
Rock Slide.
And then for that last slot you get X-Scissor, Brick Break, or Shadow Claw.
I guess Brick Break or Shadow Claw would be okay.
Brick Break is only useful to take down other Doriyuzu with Balloon and Balloon Terrakion. That's it. Of which Balloon Terrakion turns Doriyuzu into sweep fodder. It really does. If you don't have Brick Break, that Terrakion is just going to turn that entire match around.
Maybe I misunderstood you when you were calling him overrated. I mean, you kind of made it sound like you thought like this guy was barely OU and just getting really overrated.
No, everybody says this guy is super uber, and I'm telling them that's really overrated. People are putting this guy before Deoxys and Darkrai on their uber lists. That's how overrated he is. He's definitely not uber. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the point is that he is really effective at doing what he does, which is just hitting really hard and sweeping. But I think Ulti's saying that people on Smogon are a bit over-exaggerating on really how well it does that.
Other important members with Tyranitar is also Garchomp, which is really high up there too. Number 6 on the usage list with like 11.5%. It's Garchomp is pretty cool, especially when he's scarfed. I haven't used Swords Dance Garchomp, but I've used Scarf Chomp, and he's a pretty reliable revenge killer and outrage spammer in general.
Alright, so with all the talk about weather, like Tyranitar being great support for like Doriyuzu and Garchomp and all that Sandstorm stuff that basically really tears apart Generation 5, we're going to look at another type of weather. We're going to look at rain, and that introduces us to Politoed. Just barely made the cut of top 10 usage. It's number 11, almost used on 10% of all teams. And Politoed is known for obviously bringing in that steady rain dance for basically all those crazy rain dance sweepers out there, like Kingdra, Manaphy and Kabutops. And yeah, it really gave Rain an amazing buff this generation with Drizzle.
Rain is really, really good. There's not much more to say about it. If you want to run Rain Stall, go ahead and try. I'm not gonna stop you, but it's not gonna work as well. You just wanna go with your Rain powerhouses. You want Kingdra. Actually, of all things, Specs Kingdra destroys everything. I've killed off multiple members of opposing Rain teams by just spamming Hydro Pump because it's so freaking powerful. Ludicolo, honestly, of all things, is strange because of how good he is. He might actually become an OU this gen, assuming Politoed doesn't get banned. A lot of these Rain Sweepers are really, really, really good, but none of them are good on their own because they need that rest of the Rain team with them. And without Rain, none of them are good at all. Manaphy, even with +3 Tail Glow, is trash without Rain.
I think it gives a lot of other kind of like more notable like water types out there to shine too. Like I tried running like Choice Band Azumarill on a Rain team, and it really just it tore stuff apart. Rain is just, as you said, it's just really, really, really powerful, really, really good.
Rain isn't good unless you have the proper team to go around it, though. You can't just say, I'm going to have Rain and have this one Pokemon or two Pokemon that are going to abuse the Rain as much as I can. You have to have your whole team just working together to try to make the most out of that Rain. And if you can't keep your Rain up, trying to make the most out of what they can, if you can't keep that Rain up.
What out there really stops Rain? There's Notori, for instance.
No, Notori does not stop Rain. No, don't care how you put it. Notori helps stop Rain, but it doesn't stop Rain. If you're fighting a good Rain team, Notori can't do crap to it.
Well, a good Rain team will take care of all possible threats, but Notori is one of the threats.
Notori isn't really the best example. The best example of a big threat to a Rain team is Tyranitar. That really is it. Tyranitar is the biggest.
I'm surprised you mentioned him because, Rain team is water types.
No, Tyranitar is the biggest threat to Rain teams. Hippowdon is slow and can't do anything to Rain teams to actually hurt Rain teams. Abomasnow can, I guess, resists, but, a lot of Rain members have more attacks that can hit through them. The other weather starters can't do anything. Notori can be taken down by Rain teams. Tyranitar, mainly because of Pursuit and his raw power, is the biggest threat to Rain teams. He stops Rain, and he can take a hit from just about anything when Sand is up, and crush the opponent. And since nothing else has Pursuit to get rid of T-Tar, T-Tar can pursuit out other Rain teams and stuff from changing weather and forcing them out, but nothing else can return it to Tyranitar. So you'd have to slowly knock it out to get rid of it.
Hey, wait. We need to back up a bit. You stated that you can't use Rain on a non-Rain team. Well, that's still confusing when you consider that no one ever had a problem putting Tyranitar on a non-Sandstorm team. Yes, Tyranitar is a much better Pokemon than Politoed. So what's the difference here? Could you go into that in a little bit?
Rain if you're going to run Rain, you have to make the most use of it that you can, because Politoed, as you said, doesn't really have anything that stands out on his own to make him usable by himself, other than Infinite Rain. And that might be really good, but if you're not abusing that Rain, it's worthless, mainly because that you need 3 Rain Sweepers and, something that walls to you need it turns out that your entire team needs to be focused around Rain to make it effective, because if you're not focusing your entire team around it, your team isn't going to do well because it's not pushing it. You have to have Kingdra to cover this, but if you're using Kingdra, you need to use Ludicolo to cover this instead. But if you use those two, you need Notori to cover up weaknesses. Well, now 4 of your Pokemon are already completely relying on Rain, and with those 2 slots, you can only do so much. You might as well keep on going with the whole idea.
Moving on from the pretty dominant Rain and Politoed, we still have Ninetales and the older Abomasnow, and that's basically really just Ninetales. Setting up Sun and helping out sweepers like Exeggutor and Shiftry, Tangrowth, and Venusaur. It's always been what Sun does best.
Except, Rain does it twice as good, considering a lot of the Pokemon in Rain are almost viable on their own anyways, and all the Sun sweepers are complete trash without Sun.
There's not much other, as Ulti said, there's not really much other precedence for them. I think, I see Venusaur and, Charizard. And other than that, there's really nothing out there.
Shiftry under Sun seems an ideal growth abuser, though.
Yeah, but, it's...
And with Sucker...
Yeah, Sucker Punch.
But the problem is that you need Sun, and you still lose to most priority.
You also lose to Repulsion. Mach Punch, dead. Which is probably why Venusaur is really good, considering he takes priority like a pro for the most part.
And his amazing move pool.
Really, for what Venusaur does, his move pool really is quite amazing. He has 4 move slot syndrome no matter what he tries. Always.
Yeah, with Grass Stab, you're always going to have some problems.
Another thing that is an issue about Sun and Ninetales and all that is there's Tyranitar, and we mentioned this with Rain, but the difference here is that obviously with Rain, Tyranitar is weak to the water, but as Tyranitar switches in on any sunny day teams, it has this Sandstorm boost to its special defense, and then it also resists the fire type stab or fire type move that you're kind of trying to abuse.
The only hope with Sun is that you switch into Solar Beam with T-Tar. It's like, oh, I switched into your Solar Beam. Die!
No, but wouldn't that not work? Because
yes.
If you're using it the turn.
No. I'm talking about for the Sand teams. That's.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's you're switching into fire moves, or you're switching into a charging Solar Beam. So Sun does have that disadvantage, even though you might be switching into grass moves a ton, because grass is the main abuser of Sunny Day.
Yeah.
Now moving on from weather, onto the new pseudo-legendary of Black and White, Sazendor, Dark and Dragon, basically Latios with a U-turn in Dark.
Absolutely not Latios with U-turn. It is absolutely not. It is
No?
far from that. It's so much slower with that 98 speed, but it does have that extra attack to abuse. I mean, U-turn is the whole reason why it is good. That is it. Its typing is bad, other than Dragon,
It helps when if you're slapping Choice Scarf onto it and it's resistant to Pursuit. I mean, that kind of wrecked Latias and stuff. But again, yeah, it's not too amazing. It's just little things that help it.
Yeah, Choice Scarf is its only viable set, pretty much. Draco Meteor, Fire Blast, Surf, U-turn, it's doing all it can. It's U-turning out in case of emergency, and it can cover pretty good type coverage with that. I thought it was going to end up a lot worse than it really is. It's okay, but it's no Latios. Or Latias, for that matter.
I feel like it's still kind of not really outclassed, but I guess that if you're looking for that dragon type, I mean, aside from the aforementioned Choice Scarf, you've kind of got competition for everything else. We've already talked about Garchomp and even then we mentioned Choice Scarf Garchomp then, and that kind of just really gives it tough competition. And then there's stuff like Salamence and being able to Dragon Dance a lot better. And I don't think Sazendor actually gets any good stat up moves in its move pool.
Oh, it doesn't.
It gets cheer up, but
Who
Oh,
cares?
well, that might
Everything gets cheer up.
that might be like a nice gimmick, but other than that, it has an amazing move pool, but I don't know. It's just
It can't use it. Now,
Yeah.
let's say if it dropped, a couple of the points on the defense for, 10 more speed points, you might be talking here. Maybe 10, 15 more speed points, then Sazendor would be a pretty good threat. But as it stands,
I wonder if all these fighting types are maybe, if they were made with Sazendor in mind.
well, bulk.
I doubt Game Freak thought ahead on that one.
Well, nothing really is going to outspeed an OHKO Sazendor with any fighting moves bar Kajondo.
Hey, Ulti, have you tried anything like Life Orb with Draco Meteor and U-Turn? So you can, keep on hitting them over and over?
It's probably good in theory until you get to the point where you're starting to get things in that are going to just... where the damage from U-Turn is negligible, like Fortress or Notori, and if you Draco Meteor, your Flamethrower isn't going to do as much as you'd like. You'd have to be really, really careful with it, and assuming you had perfect prediction, it would work, but that's not an assumption you want to make.
Another thing is that with the Choice Scarf, like Choice Scarf Sazendora, and especially with the dominance of Sandstorm this generation, it's not really going to enjoy not only pairing to like Flygon and Garchomp, where they're resistant to Stealth Rock, don't take any residual damage from Sandstorm. Sazendor is it's taking a lot more, and it's just really difficult for it to kind of shine in this generation, I think.
It does compare to Flygon, where it might have that worse typing, and it's a trade-off. You get power for speed, 2 base speed points, or that huge Draco Meteor, and the just tiny bit of extra power on U-Turn.
Next up, we have Rankarusu, a pure psychic type with massive special attack and almost no speed, and that's about it. You can run Calm Mind, Psychic, and 2 fillers, and sweep lots and lots of stuff with your massive attack.
Yeah. I'm here forcing everybody to look at Rankarusu for a second, because it really is underestimated. On paper, it doesn't look that great. It looks just like a slow, special sweeper that really won't get too far off the ground, but it has insane bulk. So it does not have any issues, thanks to Magic Guard preventing it from taking any residual damage or toxic. You can't status it to death. You have to take it legitimately down with attacks. And when it has 3 Calm Minds up and maximum defensive investment, you sort of can't. The only way to take it down is with stab dark type attacks from a high attack stat, or stab ghost from high attack stats. There's no way you could really take it down without just brute force, which makes it a really powerful Calm Minder.
Early on in the metagame, when I kind of theory mined a set with Trick Room, have you ever tried anything like that?
I've seen those being used around before. They do work. Normally it's like a filler over, normally they run Calm Mind, Psychic, Focus Blast, or Shadow Ball Recover. You'd have to drop one of your attacking moves for or dropping Recover, which is really bad, for Trick Room, to just get 2 or 3 Calm Minds in, to just sweep as much as you can. But generally, just running Calm Mind, Recover, Psychic, Focus Blast will get you farther than anything else. It's really easy to get up to +6/+6 and just decimate the opponent's team. No issues.
So basically there's no need to reverse speed. You can just tank the hits.
You could easily tank the hits if you run maximum physical defensive investment. After 2 Calm Minds or so, you're basically invincible.
So I guess that just means I'm really bad at 3-mon.
Yeah, you don't even need to bother. If you could take those first few hits to get those first 2 or 3 Calm Minds up, you're golden.
being slower than Rapusin and Machamp really helps it a lot because that means it's not going to take a base 100 power payback. It's only going to take a base 50 power.
But there's one thing it really doesn't want to be slower than to take that nice 130 attack U-turn from.
Yes, that base 130 power U-turn, stab, scissor, top of the platinum metagame until Salamence got banned for some reason. And he's back. Still hits hard. Still scouts, even though you can see their team. Doesn't matter. He can still help eliminate the need for prediction in a lot of cases with that U-turn, with that pursuit, with that bullet punch, with that superpower, and with that great typing, great defenses. Really surprised Genesect. Wait, is Genesecto banned?
Genesect is
I'm
not
sure,
released.
but
It
really
is
surprised that.
not released, so it can't be used.
Oh, right. Completely forgot that. Well, then that explains why he's used over Scissor. So anyway, still the top bug. Still one of these hot Pokemon without a doubt. Scissor.
It has remained basically perfectly unchanged since the days of Platinum. It's still. This has proven that Scizor is still ridiculously viable.
And
It's like
especially
everything around it got completely buffed, and then he's still just used so much. It's
exactly.
ridiculous.
Scissor, had absolutely no changes that are anything to even look at in Gen 5, but it still got better. The fact
Probably
is,
with the more offensive metagame or something.
it's that the metagame around it is more tuned for Scissor to destroy it. And that is Scissor's buff. Notori, superpower. Tyranitar, bullet punch. Doriyuzu, superpower. Garchomp, bullet punch rips a huge hole in it. U-turn destroys everything. U-turn out of something. Kill all the threats with U-turn, bullet punch, superpower. Destroy everything. Darkrai, Deoxys, Skyman, rip them apart with bullet punch. Scissor is in the metagame so well because it destroys everything so much better.
I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't really found competition on the same team synergy-wise, with Notori being number one. But I mean, yeah, the only thing that they really have is fire, and yeah, it's both a 4 times fire weakness, but that can easily be covered. Rain's kind of messing up fire, and fire is still fire. I mean, yeah, a lot of things will carry it, but other than Heatran and Machamp and Blaziken a little bit now, and maybe a little Arcanine, there's still not a lot of fire users in OU. So fire weakness isn't very crippling.
You don't really use Scissor on Rain teams, I'll just tell you that much. It doesn't really work.
So Rain Dance Scizor
Oh no, I
isn't
didn't
that
mean
common
to
anymore.
apply that.
Yeah, you're not gonna see Scissor, on Rain teams, other than very, very rare occasions. If you want Scissor Rain equivalent, you're just gonna use Kabutops or Azumarill with power priority. And other good power priority would be in the newly found Technician Breloom's Mach Punch and Bullet Seeds.
Bullet Seed's buff is quite ridiculous.
It's
I
not-
think it's like a Seed Bomb if it hits at worst, I think.
If it's a seed, it's better than Seed Bomb if it hits 3 times.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I think you're averaging 3.5 or something.
So it's still
Yeah.
doing pretty good.
So it's essentially slightly better than Seed Bomb on average, and then just absolutely ridiculous if you hit 5 times.
How much does it do to like Shandera with 5 hits?
Well, factoring in Stealth Rock, if you hit 5 times, I would think that might even be a KO.
That is one powerful mushroom.
If you could OHKO Shandura, it's like saying I could OHKO Blissey with a close combat.
Well, it's a resisted close combat.
No. We're not, not even. Shandura is so freaking frail. It's like if you took Starmie and gave it horrid typing on the defense, and then, took away its recover. That's all Shandura is on the defense. But yeah, for priority's sake, Scissor is going to probably stay over Breloom, even though Breloom has Spore. Just because, Scissor can U-turn and Bullet Punch and doesn't have an immunity. And yeah.
Breloom does still do pretty well against Tyranitar, though.
Yeah, of course it does. It does better against Tyranitar. I don't think a Tyranitar could salvage a fight against a Breloom unless it predicts the switch with a Fire Blast. At least it could salvage Scissor with Battery Berry. Can't even do that for Breloom.
And you have to keep in mind that Breloom also revenge kills Doriyuzu, which other priority users like Caesar can't.
Yeah.
So it definitely has a niche in the metagame, but probably not that big of one.
It gets rid of different things. Scissor just gets rid of the more important things. That's Scissor's, thing.
More things and more important things.
Yes. Scissor gets rid of more of what you want. Things like the big suspect guys. Darkrai, Deoxys, Skyman, and then some. Scissor does real good to those guys.
Which of those suspects are you guys expecting to be banned, or hope to be banned or not banned?
I know this is like completely reversing old opinions that I've slammed against people's faces a million billion times, but I still want Darkrai to be banned. I want Deoxys A only to be banned. I haven't seen any good use of Deoxys N. I want Skyman to be banned, and this is the big one that's completely going against everything I've ever said. I want Latios gone.
I really want Darkwing gone because
Latios.
I just don't like Sleep. It's just annoying, especially with the new mechanic change.
Yeah, the sleep nerf really, it's just anything
Sleep
like
buff.
Breloom.
Sleep buff, really.
Yeah,
It's
Darkrai and Breloom get a little bit more out of hand with freaking Dark Void and Spore.
I've abused that sleep change more with Politoad's Hypnosis than I have with Darkrai's Dark Void. Sort of sad.
Do you guys think Skyman will be banned? I mean, Serenade Grace is ridiculous. Speed Step, ridiculous. Seed Flare, ridiculous but 5 PP. And Special Attack is crazy, but not the best typing altogether. Unique typing, but not the best.
Skyman is, weird, If you took away Air Slash from Skyman, Skyman gets a lot worse. You take away Seed Flare from Skyman, Skyman gets a lot worse. It's like Skyman has just barely what it needs to be Uber. Taking away any one of its individual moves severely cripples it, and it's like, hey, I'm Uber, just barely. It's so stupid.
I guess you could say it doesn't really need much more than what it has.
It has exactly what it needs to be Uber. If it didn't have Earth Power, if it didn't have Seed Flare, if it didn't have Air Slash, if it didn't have any single one of those moves, it would be OU. But it has all 3 of them, so that's enough to make it Uber. With Deoxys A is hugely powerful. It's huge attack stats, and surprisingly could take weaker priority, like Rapushin's +1 Mach Punches really well. Somehow. And other weaker attacks like that, and does fun things like OHKO's Notori with HP Fire, which is actually a really big feat. Surprisingly, it's hard to OHKO something 4 times weak to Fire with a Fire move. And Super Power and Bolt Beam are just huge amounts of power. I just want it banned. DON might not be as bad. Nobody's used it yet. I can't tell you.
Dio what?
Normal Deoxys. DON.
I didn't know that was called N.
It is.
Okay. Latios?
Yeah. I was saying for eons that, no, Latios should stay OU. Latios is fine in OU. Latios isn't overpowered anymore in OU. Latios is just fine. No, after team building for a while, I just look at it and say, there's no way I could just have something that I could just put on my team and just not have to worry about Latios, or have to worry less about Latios. There just isn't anything I could do about it. It's Uber. I hate to say it, but I want to see it stay really badly, but there's no way it can. It's just power. Now, if you start getting anything lower than Latios in the food chain, like, say, Manaphy, assuming Politoed doesn't go to Uber, or Salamence or Garchomp, those bans like those would probably be about as legitimate as my 2-week room ban from the Poke Center.
What about Latias?
Latias, absolutely not. It does not have the
It
power.
just doesn't have the power.
It does not have that. Is the one issue with it. Not enough power to make.
So that's just basically what Latios has. It's not like any kind of utility.
It's that base
as a type
130.
coverage or anything.
It's Draco Meteor, Surf, Thunderbolt, HP Fire coming off a base 130 special attack stat. That and a good 110 speed stat. That's all Latios needs, and the extra ability to drop one of those moves to run Trick to cripple walls that could be in its way helps even more. Latios just has that extra power that Latias doesn't have that pushes it out and makes it too hard to counter that Latias does not have.
I never really used Choice Specs Latias, as I've said before. I've mainly used it for its type coverage for revenge killing. So it's more like a utility role on my teams.
I always used Latias as just a life orber. It was very, very life orby.
Wow.
Yes, it was very useful. I liked the life orb Draco Meteors and the ability to, switch moves if I didn't predict right. I did not like being locked into choice items with something that weak. Now, after we've gotten back to the suspects, we are now going to go into the most important parts of the entire metagame. The absolute jokes.
Yes.
Imagine the absolute fear that's instilled upon one when a magnet rise is baton passed to Rotom Fan holding a balloon. The world shall implode on thee.
Yes, because you need to be like 16 times immune to ground. Absolutely, absolutely amazing.
Dory used Earthquake.
I
Dory
wonder if Game
fainted.
Freak even noticed that was going on. Or did they just I think we'll just leave it in. Too lazy to think of something else to go there.
Troll Freak is the ultimate power. That's how
Speaking
things
of
are.
speaking of Game Freak not actually thinking about what they were adding on, what about them? What about Delibird? I mean,
Insomnia, Vital Spirit, Delibird. Oh yeah.
yes.
Kind of makes me cry on the inside a little bit.
Yep. It's like, oh, now I can run two completely different.
Wait, isn't...
Yeah.
I think the Delibird thing's a reference, actually.
To what?
I mean, to Santa Claus, of course.
Santa
When
Claus.
Santa Claus goes around, he goes around one night, delivers all these presents, and one night is basically a whole day, and he's always watching you, even when you're sleeping. In order for Santa Claus to do that, he'd have to never be asleep, no matter what.
Well,
comes Delibird.
Delibird has a third ability. That's something that's negligible that nobody gives two craps about. He could sleep.
What?
What does Delibird have as his other ability?
Delibird's third ability is hustle.
Hustle.
The thing that
Well,
like,
that's
good.
that's still a decent Santa Claus reference.
yeah.
I guess.
On to other horrible bird Pokemon. We've got Swellow here, who seemingly got Scrappy this generation, which
That's
is
a great buff.
Oh yeah, now I can start hitting ghosts with my guts boosted facades with... Oh, wait, never mind.
Oh.
so if you hold a Burn Orb, that attack just cuts. Sad face. Sad face.
I could use Toxic or Screw it. Terrible, terrible trolls. I hate you, Game Freak. They should just splice Guts and Scrappy. They should just totally do it. Totally. Now, finishing up the OU segment with the power of the least used Pokemon in the entire Wi-Fi tier. An exclamation point unknown carrying hidden power water. 252 HP, 252 special attack, carrying a focus sash. The immense power of it all will overwhelm you.
Until I switch in
On a
Nattering.
rain team.
Probably was. Politoed. Unknown HP water. It totally works. We should probably move away from this into some more current events, though.
So what the heck is going on in the Poke Center? I'm not there. I'm banned. What's going on?
Pretty much the entire Poke Center has been flipped on its head 47 times, beaten with a stick, tossed into the dumpster, and then fed pork fat until it was back to normal again, to sum it all up.
I heard Smashboards got rid of all titles that don't do something.
Yep, that included
If
the PC.
you don't have a back room to back it up, you don't have a title. So to make it up, they're giving us little post-it icons for the Elite Floor / spriting.
What's funny now with Pink Reaper used to be in there, as everybody knows, but, then, he decided to not really want to go with monotype teams. And then, well, that got him out. Now he was the only challenge in the Elite Four, and now we're pretty much going to just all have free Master Balls. Even Terry will have a Master Ball.
That's one way to put it, yeah.
Terry will do it by bulk up sweeping with Zero Zukin.
So what about the spriting? Are you guys gonna try that?
Probably the spriting competition ones are going to be harder, considering that's such a subjective thing.
Well, I'm sure that they have to give someone a win, so it's gonna be like, who's the best? And eventually you're gonna win.
Yeah, so pretty much everybody in their Fuel Bee is going to have a Master Ball now that Pink Reaper's out of the game, and
Who replaced Pink Reaper?
Koku.
I remember him a little while back from like tournaments and stuff.
It's a long
Speaking
while
of
back. Tournaments.
Nattering roasting on an open fire. Wall of Text edition.
That was a very big wall of text.
Oh yeah, that was really fun writing that. In my defense, I held that tournament the exact same as all the other past ones. One of the mods pointed out that one of the problems might be because this one actually has a prize.
That might be it. Riddle has actually talked to me when he was going into that tournament. He's like, I'm just gonna win this, because Riddle really still thinks he's like the shit. He really does. It's like, hey, I could beat good people every once in a while. I'm totally going to destroy this tournament.
That's like me saying I would win the tournament because I beat Alti once.
How did that go, anyways?
I have absolutely no idea. He just sort of won once somehow.
I don't even remember what happened either.
I'm not even sure how. He just sort of
It was
did.
all a big blur.
Yes, it's just all a big blur. It's like, we're not even sure what happened. He just did. I don't even think there was any hacks in that game. I think it was just, he just somehow won. I can't even remember. I guess the only other thing for some self-advertisement was the extra edition of the PC chat room, which, if you're not a part of, you really should be. Get a Skype or something. I'm talking to you, Pink Reaper.
And I know some of you might be wondering why I'm on this podcast, considering that I'm a band member, and there's no server. Well, the server is coming back, and it's going to have a few new surprises. That's taken quite a while to finish. But we hope to have it out by the end of the year.
That's a big hope.
It's a big hope, but I think once it's out, you guys will really enjoy whatever it is that we get finished.
Considering that you built the whole thing from ground up, I'd say that getting it out eventually is good enough.
Getting it out ever is really, that would suffice. Getting it out before Black and White released in America would be pretty good.
Well, that wraps up our edition of this Christmas cast. I really hope you guys enjoyed this cast. Hope you guys got a lot out of it. This we are the Poke Center, and just wishing you Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Quagsire! Quagsire would like to give us one last gift to the Poke Center before we leave. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are here. You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch.
You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch.
I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole.
You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You got termites in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch.
Given the choice between the two of you, I'd take the seasick crocodile. You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful sots. Your heart's a deadly tomato spot with moldy purple spots, Mr. Grinch. You're a three-decker sauerkraut and toadstool sandwich with arsenic sauce.
You nauseate me, Mr. Grinch, with the nausea super nuts. You're a cookie jerky jockey and you drive a crooked pot, Mr. Grinch.
Your soul is an appalling dump heap, overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of deplorable rubbish imaginable, mangled up in tangled up knots. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks. Your soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch.
The three words that best describe you, you are as followed, and I quote, stink, stink, stunk. What is Christmas? Christmas isn't about AIDS or Afghanistan. Christmas isn't about iPods or dental dams. Christmas has nothing to do with friendship. Christmas isn't about butt pads or head helmets. Christmas isn't about Arkansas or even chainsaws. You're not going to find Christmas in your small intestine no matter how much glue you feed your dog. Trust me, I know. Christmas is a village. Christmas is a village of tiny people living under Antarctica, laughing, laughing, laughing. That's what Christmas is.